read along. The next section we're up at is talk and idle time. And I have to say, I love what Contact Babel have done. Look at that, going back to 2005 to 2022, talk time has dropped. This is agents from all of the contact centers they've surveyed, and we know it's a lot, whilst idle time has remained pretty static. Neris, I absolutely hate that. Idle time. Okay. Neris, please explain, because you've definitely piqued my interest. What is it this? What do you hate about it? I hate idle being a code within the contact center solutions. Yes, Pete. Idle time. Oh, I love this. That time between calls is some of the most valuable, particularly when nurturing relationships and culture. Very true. Do you think then this is a time for an update in our terminology? I totally agree on idle insinuates that people do nothing. I can't type fast enough on this phone. Idle hands don't like. As a TL, we used to monitor this quite closely. Wrap time. Very true, mate. It's where the name came from, isn't it? Does it distinguish outbound from inbound? This was inbound, Bev. Really good point. Language matters always. So really key, because there's, the reaction is you guys are vociferous about this. I to be honest, I didn't even think. I just kind of put it up there. Again, the term idle comes from contact center vendors, a bit like marketing. They generally don't understand the reality of in-life contact center operations. It's a really, really good point. And if you think about some of the stuff I spoke on, I was on the panel for Disrupt, and we talked about the cognitive load of agents increasing because they don't get those transactional interactions or moments to be able to just relax, enjoy. Wow, okay. Idle implies inefficiency, which it absolutely isn't. People aren't robots, machines, where we need to strive for 100% runtime. Very true. Idle is a horrible term. I prefer opportunity. Will this be an impact of people working from home? Really good point, Charles. An old boss used to beat me over the head about my idle time like I was doing nothing in that time. In that time, I'm reflecting, doing admin, and getting ready for my next call. Danny Wareham, absolutely this, that all language always matters. No, idle and wrap are different. Idle is the bit after wrap, waiting for calls. Anyway, no, you haven't. This is the whole point. There is no track, Neris. This is great. This is absolutely great. This is what, and from that poll, right? Everybody wants to talk about, if we come across something, everyone wants to talk about it. I love this, because we shouldn't think that all of this stuff is done to us. We are this stuff, yeah? We are our industry. We can, if we want, change all of this. We can change the perception, and to Danny's point, the perception change is often driven through a language change, right? Exactly, Nick. Perhaps idle should be and breathe. That's exactly what I do, Nick. I call it breathing space, but the MI still generally says idle, as it's hard coded. If I'm inbound, then idle is beyond your control to a degree. Very true. This is definitely not off track. This is a kind of track we want to be on. We want to make a change, because, again, idleness does kind of insinuate that we have people just swinging in hammocks, smoking big cigars, when in fact we know that our frontline agents are pretty wired. Here we go, Pete. This looks like a good one. Such a dissonance between this type of language and our only drive to try and professionalize and empower. How are we challenging how we support our teams with better culture and engagement if we're not changing this? Such a great point, Pete. And to my comment just a while ago, we can change it. Need to jump off mine. Busy day. Now, he's an Arsenal fan, but I do love Charlie. See you, mate. So what are we going to do? Need to change the vocabulary. MI doesn't need to stay the same. So let's change it. Let's change it. There's enough people on this call, and there'll be enough people that watch the recording. You all have an influence, I hope. Why don't we change it? Why don't we ask for it to be changed? I might lobby the vendor community to get it in their roadmaps. Definitely Neris. Now, if anyone can get something done, then Neris absolutely can. I've had the pleasure of working alongside you, Neris, on stuff. So let's do it. Let's change it. And in a small way, we'll make a difference. Wouldn't it be great to see something that better reflects some of these words here? Professionalize, empower, engage, culture. Brilliant. This has been a very, very interesting tangent. Not tangent. You sounded great on that call. Are you okay? Where do these important conversations start without idle time? Well, I know, again, Danny, great prompt, because firsthand, when I was wandering about as a team leader, when calls finished, that was my leadership time. That was the time, and when I say leadership, I mean support. That was the time when I could just sit down next to someone or just engage with them and say, "How you doing? How was that? Was that call all right? Sounded bad, blah, blah, blah. How are you? What's going on? How can I help? Do you want a cup of tea?" All of these things. So you are dead right, Danny. So as well as Neris lobbying, let's have a think about what else could we do? We could contact Babel and say, should we start looking at some of the language? Because if you think about it, call center changed to contact center. How terminology changes is a fascinating subject, but it comes through us. Come on, Cam. Or was it your time to ask me to get you a coffee? Never, never. And anyway, my coffees always took tiny amount of time because they were espressos. Look at me painting a rose tinted kind of picture of what I used to be like, and Cam knows firsthand. If you look at occupancy targets of 85 to 90% to prevent burnout overburden, why do we vilify the remaining 10, 15% as idle? Really true. Really true. And this is why it's your show. This is why you guys are better than me.